Hey VC, this is Harvey of Spin the Black Circle. Hope everyone is well and doing good things, and welcome to Walking the Groove, my corner of this YouTube channel that muses on a topic whilst getting some exercise, in this case walking. So it's been a while since I uploaded, too long in fact, so it's good to be back. Today's topic is the importance of going offline. And I will link this heavily to music, but it's something that's kind of been bothering me as a wider perspective on modern life. So bear with me while I kind of link this to music. But in three areas, let's talk wider than that too. The first is pace, P-A-C-E, the pace of modern life, how that impacts us all, links to music, the importance of isolation, self-imposed isolation I mean. And lastly, the impact of both of those things holistically on focused listening to the music that we love. So let's get going. Okay, so pace, the pace of modern life. Even coming here to Sutton Park today, the largest, I think largest, or one of the largest urban parks in Europe. You have to drive almost into the middle of the park till you reach a barrier before you can go for a walk, really. Otherwise you're just walking down paths with cars flying past you. So look, hypocritical of course because I drove here, but it's just it strikes me that even on this topic it's difficult to find some space, and on pace everybody expects a response immediately. How many of us feel guilty for not responding to a WhatsApp or a text message within a few hours? You find yourself apologising the day after if you haven't responded to somebody, be that friends, family or work colleague. Now work settings I get, because the pace of communication now, understandably, if you have any sort of customer based role, which I do, then I get the need for at least acknowledgements of that sort. But when that starts to stray across into feeling guilty for not responding immediately, and the link to music is twofold actually. The first one is that there's a track by Nubia Garcia, excellent UK jazz saxophonist, that deals with this. It's named Pace. You listen to that tune, it's specifically about this relentless pace of modern life, and it sounds like it. It's a reflective track, not conciliatory in terms of it. But then on the pace, back to pace itself, everything from Tesco's deliveries to the suggestion that even the most mundane of questions needs an immediate answer, be that via social media or other means, I think gets in the way of everything, including getting some time to listen to some music, the hobby that we love. So I suppose the first one, tenuous link to what I'm talking about, but for example, I find myself, finishing work, putting a record on, and if I'm honest, still dealing with emails on my phone, even though I've clocked off for the day. Or worse than that, given we're talking about focused listening here, immediately on putting a record on, WhatsApping somebody or posting on the Facebook group that I run to talk about the album I'm listening to and take a picture of it. How ironic for a hobby that's meant to be about going offline and really focusing and listening. Now that's one thing, of course, if that's the intent, which if you're putting a record on, generally should be about focused listening. Otherwise you might as well just put a Spotify or Sonos speaker on. Now that's fine if you're cooking or you're doing other household tasks or you've got some headphones on, that's great. But my first step towards this relentless pace and trying to disrupt it is I didn't bring my headphones to the park today for this walk, and I'd normally do that in between filming this upload. And I made a pact with myself that this phone will not be allowed in the music room, to avoid, and the iPad either, to avoid any temptation of ironically posting about how much I'm enjoying the focused listening that I'm not doing. So that's pace. So part two is self-imposed isolation. Now, I'm pretty sure if there's a tag to be put on it, despite having a YouTube channel, I'm an introvert personified. My job involves me talking to lots of people in a leadership role, and the usual thing, a LinkedIn account and some sort of internal profile. So communication is a vital part of what I do, but I'm still an introvert, and I'm probably the most awkward person in the world. It's small talk. Probably better one-to-one in small groups, but in a group environment, I've got nothing to say unless you start talking about music, in which case I can talk for a long time. But self-imposed isolation is very, very important to me, because the energy that I lose, I think I've talked about this before, from being in those groups is significant. And even if you're the most extroverted person in the world, I put it to you that going back to this hobby, then having some time that's just for you to listen to the music is really important. But I also think, and this links back to pace, I thought about this last night. I was becoming a chore to listen to music yesterday, because I'd spun so much in the intake of sound for so long, even though I really enjoyed the selections I made. I think I might also just have 24, 48 hours where there's no noise at all. Occasionally no TV and no music, and just collect your own thoughts. Otherwise, what is it, right? Is it the next however many years I live with constant stimulation from either music or TV? So point 2 here is time on your own being important, but also time on your own without any especially audible stimulation, and that includes, unfortunately, the fatigue I felt last night from listening to something like 7 albums on the trot. It's just too much. So yeah, music or outside of music, self-imposed isolation, I think, is important to at least some human beings, maybe most. So finally, focused listening then. So yesterday, I was delighting in the fact that you may have seen on one of my posts, I bought this Atlantic Soul box set, stretching all the way from 1947 to 1974, the cream of Atlantic Soul and that whole sound across 7 double album sets of 14 albums. And I started listening to, I think it was 1969 to 72, that volume yesterday, and I was so overjoyed at how amazing these Aretha, Wilson Pickett, Booker T and the MGs tracks sounded, that I immediately posted or texted, messaged about 4 or 5 people, including across every forum that I'm on. So friends, family, even the Facebook music group that I admin again. And at the end, I thought, what am I doing? I've actually detached myself from the focused listening that I was, ironically, bestowing the virtues of in these messages. So again, these all link, right, to pace and self-isolation, but I can't live with that sort of stupidity. It is really silly. There's a sketch from a Harry Enfield show where they have these fake DJs on, and I think he's playing a Jimi Hendrix song on this sketch, and he keeps stopping it halfway through a Jimi Hendrix solo and saying, "Great Jimi Hendrix solo, yeah, what a wonderful Jimi Hendrix solo," and fading it out every 5 seconds of this Jimi Hendrix guitar solo. So it's the same sort of thing, right? Why am I messaging 7 times about the focused listening that I'm not actually doing? Because I've started messaging. So again, phone outside of the room, being offline, not responding to people immediately. Most of this, folks, is about this thing that I'm ironically again that I'm filming on now, and the linked iPads and other gizmos that we use to distract us from living, really, because being on these things isn't living. And it's the same as how fake everything from LinkedIn is to those photos from your holiday, because what they don't capture is the argument that you had with your son just before you took the photo, or the difficult conversation with your boss before you said how amazing this event was on LinkedIn. So there's a lot of fakery involved too, a lot of misinformation. Final point, this is not political, I promise, but reflecting too on, we have a new Prime Minister in the UK named Andy Burnham, and whatever your political views, I'm not going to state what mine are. what struck me is the lack. This is about Pierce, definitely, of Modern Life. The lack of patience with him embedding his executive and getting rolling with some policies. So he's 3-4 weeks in. He's already the subject of extreme criticism for what he has and hasn't done before he's even got his experts in the room, formed a view and deployed. So again, I think that's a reflection of, instead of human beings being the best versions of themselves in terms of how they react to that sort of stuff, just shooting from the hip and wanting everything now and demanding. So all of this, I guess, is about slowing down a bit, right? Slowing down your thoughts, slowing down your actions, the pace. And I think there's a really important part for those who are into this hobby that music plays in that, of facilitating us slowing down. And that could be anything from, the loudest death metal LP to a chamber orchestra, but allowing yourself the time to slow down, detach, and go offline. So with that, I'm going to go offline now and enjoy the rest of this walk. Peace.